Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to April 11th's Impact Review. The Corpus Christi, Texas, what do we get in this Texas Impact? We got a lot of stuff. Some things that were good, but a few of them really made no damn sense unless they're going to do something later with it. Now, I'm going to get some of the smaller stuff out of the way first. Knowing that Kurt Angle is going to be going up against the heel twins, as I call them, which is Briscoe and Bischoff, it's something I would expect before Slammiversary pay-per-view. That's something I thought would be better for that. Look, Garrett Bischoff, we know, is a total undercarder. Wes Briscoe is obviously a good mid-carder or up-and-coming mid-carder. They really need to be split off. But the problem here is that since they're in aces and eights, that's not going to happen too soon. It ain't going to happen until the faction falls apart and then ends. And I don't see that happen too soon. I would have liked to see this at a pay-per-view. Let it be a Slammiversary. But since they're going to be doing it next week, I'll take it for what it is. Giving it for free TV. Is it the wisest thing to do? No, I don't believe. I don't believe it's the wisest thing to do right now. It would be better if they hype it up. If they stop Kurt Angle next week from having that match and they build it up to Slammiversary, I would be more invested in it. And that's if they give the segment to a Wes Briscoe with Garrett in the background. Do I believe that's going to happen? No, I believe the match is going to happen. So I'm just going to leave it at that, but that was my thoughts. Next, seeing the Hogan and Morgan segment, the tease of Morgan and Hulk Hogan is giving me a lot of interest. There is a good possibility a Matt Morgan may be pushed to go into the world title scene by either Slammiversary or Bound for Glory. I'm hoping that they structure this properly, that Hulk Hogan will feel like he's boxed into a corner and he'll have no choice but to use a Matt Morgan because of what happened at the end of this review and the end of the night at Impact. I have a feeling that that's coming. I have a feeling that Hulk Hogan will be dancing with the devil, as you will, with a Matt Morgan. And I got to say something about Matt's beard, man. That beard, if you've seen 300, if anyone's seen the movie 300, and you see King Leonidas, and that beard, the guy who played him, that thick-ass beard that man was wearing, you're looking at a Leonidas type of dude, man. I mean, when you look at a Matt Morgan, the man is cock diesel, yeah. It's a big-ass man, but that beard sets him off like a Spartan, like he's about to go to war. Think about it for yourself. Go and look at it again, and you see how thick that damn beard is. One, either, counting on how you feel about beards, one, you want him to shave that shit off, or at least trim it back. Or two, you think that's such a fucking epic beard, that's sweet for what he's doing. He's going to war, baby. He's the one that's going to war. He's going to war. Something like that. So that's how I feel about that. Sorry, maybe that was a little too much. So let's get into one of the first matches we have that was first on the card for the show. And really, if nothing is done with this, I will think, what the fuck were they thinking? Tag Team Championship, 2 out of 3 falls. I didn't say this in my last Impact review. But the 2 out of 3 falls where the person who loses will break up. Now, I figured it was going to be Hernandez and Superman. I didn't think they would win it. But I did think if it did happen, they have to do something with Austin Aries and Robert Roode. The match wasn't so bad. It wasn't. Seeing that Chavo was the one who spotlighted still makes me feel, and I've said this many times before, that Chavo and Superman will not last for very long. I have a feeling that there's going to be some type of situation where either bad influence, or even though the heel twins have been ordered to be split up, there will be some situation that will bring them back together and they'll reclaim their titles. And somehow Chavo and Superman are going to have a side where there's going to be heels against a face. Because when you saw this match, and you saw Chavo spearing over the top rope. I mean, not Chavo, I'm so sorry. A super met spearing over the top rope, a Chavo, makes you think there's going to be a conflict soon. It's going to happen. This is how I felt about it. And I'm sorry I got them mixed up. It's almost impossible to tell the difference anymore because nothing's been done with either one of them. They're so... you can tell the physical size, but their characters is so, like, almost interchangeable. The only difference is two. One, Chavo is smaller than Superman. Two, Chavo talks. Now, you would say, hey, that's a very big difference. Yeah, but the way they structure them, the way they've been presented, it's almost no difference. They're just simple. Kind of like what the Super Friends used to be back in the 70s, if anyone ever saw the Super Friends. The characters were completely interchangeable. They were both the same type of characters, except they had different names and they had different looks. You can interchange their characters 100%. This is how I feel about the stereotypicals. They're interchangeable. Yeah, one talks more than the other, and one is bigger than the other, but you can interchange the characters and there's nothing there. So, like I said, either they're planning to do something with these two people, the Dirty Heels, they're planning to push them in some way, or they're going to let them reform later and reclaim their titles. If nothing happens, that was the most stupidest thing TNA could have done because they were in Texas. And I could say sometimes, yes, the guys that are from that town and that state, they deserve a win from time to time. But in this case, if nothing's done, they did not deserve it. Now I'm going to move on. The segment of Terrence Terrell, Gail Kim, and ODB, who does not love ODB with a body that any man would love and many women would love. I'm not saying any difference about if you are lesbian or if you're a straight man. It makes no difference. You like them no matter what. Anyone loves the boobies. And I hope no lady gets insulted, but I am being honest here. Now, the thing I felt about this is it's too soon. I really felt that it would have been better to build this to the pay-per-view of a Slammiversary. Since this is the only thing they got for the knockouts, unless what's going to happen next week, that's going to happen with Miss Tessmacher and Mickie Jane, and I will get to that in a second. I don't see any other feuds they got. The knockouts have nothing. And the way this has been presented, this is a viable possible feud. I felt that was a little too soon ended. Seeing ODB there was nice, particularly that there's no belt around her waist. And I'm sure a lot of people are saying we need to tag titles for the knockouts back. I would say yes if you have enough women and the women are presented more than what they're presented now. So having the tag titles negated, removed, is the wisest thing to do right now for the knockouts because they have not restructured them. They're still not giving them enough time. And this feud is an example of that. They shortened it to nothing. Yes, they're going to continue the feud, but it feels like it ended now. The match for Terrence, and it really wasn't much of a match. The only person that was really the most interesting was Gail Kim trying to mess with ODB. Terrence really wasn't put over that strongly here, even though she did win. But I do believe at the end of the match was the wisest thing that they allowed to be done. From time to time, TNA, I hope you continue doing this, not just for the women, but for the men too. Let there be an interview after the match. This is something they don't do much in wrestling anymore. Unless you're from an indie. You don't see this from WWE, almost zero. They do raw active shit. They do it on their website. They do it on their app. To get it over, you need to do it on the shows. Let people see it. So what they did with Christy Hemme and Terrence Terrell, I loved it. Tell me your feelings below if it was the right thing to do. I really believe it was. Having an interview for Terrence Terrell when she smacks the ass of a beautiful red-headed Christy Hemme. And please tell me someone below if Christy Hemme is a real redhead. I believe she is. Kind of like redheads. I don't really care. Kind of like anybody. But I'm a low-maintenance type of guy. You don't have to really go crazy to make me happy. But the point is that getting a nice smack on the butt for Christy Hemme and hearing who wants to jump me now? Who wants to come at me? Was actually pretty wise on her part. That puts her over more to go for the next opponent. But the problem here is that it was too soon. Christy Hemme, I really believe, did the right thing, but a Terrence Terrell winning was not wise. I would have liked them to have some type of conflict where maybe a Terra came out to interfere, and then a Velvet Sky after that. I know that seems to be overkill in that case, but in this case, you need to stretch it to Slammiversary, and that didn't happen. Do I believe there will be a Slammiversary match with these two? Yes. There will be one. It's going to happen. Now I'll give my thoughts about what's going to happen next week with Mickie Jane and Miss Tessmacher. If there is no turn on either one of them, it's going to be a standard match. Maybe they'll have ODB ref again. You never know. They're not having ODB do anything, so having her as a ref wouldn't be that bad. But the point here is this. We need a heel turn from somebody. Now, I've been screaming a lot, like everyone else, that a Mickie Jane needs to turn heel. Do I believe that's going to happen next week? No. I'll be happy if it does, but it won't. So that's my thoughts on it. Now, the Joseph Park segment. At first, Joseph was being booed at Corpus Christi. He was. Then they finally started getting into Joseph Park. I still believe the Joseph Park character is still a very vibrant, enjoyable character. A lot of people still like him. But they really need to do some more with him. Really, they do. So, seeing that he had the annulment papers didn't fill me with a lot of joy. You know why? The problem was this. Brooke Hogan was not involved. Brooke Hogan still needs to be presented. Yes, she was presented at the end of the show. But it would have been better to have a Brooke Hogan come out and say, "You got papers for me?" Something for her to be involved in. But that didn't happen. The person that got involved was Devon. Tears up the paper and says, "Stay out of family business." Was that the wise thing to do? Yes, if Bully Ray is staying champion and a Devon is not staying champion. Devon's not presented at all. He's barely seen. He doesn't defend his title. So now, if they're going to let Joseph Park go after that title by maybe Slammiversary, if they do it a little early, I think it's still wrong. But if they do it by Slammiversary, it's the wisest thing to do. Give him a second shot at it and let him win it. Then Joseph Park will have more staying power. That's what I'm hoping for. Then he hits in the stomach of a Joseph Park, a Devon with a steel chain. Wisest thing to do to start a feud between them. I thought it might have been a Doc. But having Devon, I know many people are not totally fond of Devon, but having it like this for Joseph Park, who really needs to get over, is alright with me. Now the next thing, I don't know how people are going to feel about this. They probably will agree with me. Gut check. I'm getting it done now. Gut check with Danny Davis, Bruce, and Al. I enjoyed they did the backstage with the TNA banner instead of a room, because they're not going to be doing a room all the time. I really did like that. Let them talk, give their feelings. I've always said that was a good thing. Now, when it came to deciding between Adam Pearce and Magno, a lot of people were not happy that Adam Pearce was not chosen. Magno was chosen for the last stage of Gut Check. I believe Adam Pearce should have gotten that chance to go in front of them, particularly after the second stage, which is the final decision by the Gut Check judges, where it was time for Magno to talk. It's not the point that Magno can't talk very good English. He does talk good English. If anybody thinks I don't think he was good because he couldn't talk English properly, that's one hell of a lie. The man is obviously can talk very good English. But the problem was this. Magno has no fire behind his words. I'm sorry. It just didn't work. It wasn't the fact he started talking Spanish in the beginning or in the middle or the end. It was how he spoke. Even Lady Tappa had more energy than he did. And she was awkward in her talking. She was awkward in her presenting it. But you could see the fire in her attitude and in her eyes and in her mannerisms that many people could not stand her. I understand that many people believe she should have never gotten the contract. But you could see, even with her green as hell promo and her speaking, she still had more energy than a 13-year veteran did. It was terrible. It wasn't the fact he didn't raise his voice. It wasn't the fact that he spoke some English and Spanish. You can just hear it in his tone. Not without always raising your voice to get your point across. From his words and his energy in presenting his words. Nothing. And that is the reason why he was not chosen. And I say, and I'm sure many people will probably agree that Adam Pearce should have got it. But the main reason for me wasn't because he was very sloppy in the ring. Wasn't. It was that segment. You want to get the people over on you? It isn't just doing great work in the ring. If that was true, ROH would have the best ratings anywhere compared to TNA and WWE. It is not about your ring work that gets you over. If anyone's from ROH just watching this, it's more if you want to get a variety of fans, not just hardcore like move fans. You must present yourself properly, and I did not see that from Magno. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy, and doesn't mean he doesn't have great talent, but Magno is too soft of a talker in this sense. He's not Hernandez. Hernandez was brought in different times, in different companies, and even though he didn't talk a lot, he gave off an attitude. That is what got him over. Magno does not show that. He is too gentle. And he didn't show any enthusiasm. So moving on. I'm sorry I lasted so long on that. It just was upsetting to see. Now, the Joey Ryan. Seeing Joey Ryan with a Brooke Hogan. I can say one thing about the segment. Joey's shorter than Brooke. And Brooke is a tall woman with heels. Joey sucking on a sucker in front of Brooke. It's a sleazy thing to do, and it's the wisest thing to do for his character. Joey pissing off Brooke was not wise. What did we get in the middle of the ring? A Joey Ryan versus a Rob Terry. Sorry, congestion. Seeing Rob Terry without a Robbie E was good. Does that mean he's being pushed? I don't know. But what was presented to us was a demolishing, a destruction, a chest smash with an open hand of a Rob Terry onto a Joey Ryan. Rob Terry beat the shit out of this motherfucker. I like Joey Ryan, don't get me wrong, but he destroyed him. So it's a good possibility that Joey Ryan is going to be ending up like a Robbie E for at least a little while. That he will be an enhanced jobber. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need to do that to get a person seen enough, and then when you change their character, look at the Brooklyn Brawler. Steve Lombardi. I always say I love Steve Lombardi. It wasn't the fact he was a great wrestler. It was the fact that he had gimmicks. And he used different gimmicks to stay very relevant and very interesting. Even if he was a mid-carder, he was a good mid-carder. He was interesting. So we could be seeing this from a Joey Ryan eventually. He will go off the sleeves and do something else, or they improve the sleeves and make it better. Rob Terry's a big question. He may be a super cock diesel man like a Batista character, which is, I'm Rob Terry. Something like that. Sorry. But you get what I'm saying. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I really hope they do something. But we don't know. Now, the next to the last will be the Bully Ray and the Hardy match. Full Metal Mayhem. I didn't say it in the last one. I had forgotten it. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the type that likes to be honest about it. But Full Metal Mayhem, which is an equivalent to tables, ladders, and chairs, was a good match. It's kind of a question to see if when a Bully Ray threw a Jeff Hardy into the ladder inverted and may have actually hurt himself. We know that these ladders are not full steel. Most of them are made of aluminum. Usually they're made of very strong or somewhat strong aluminum, particularly on the handles. Not the handles, I can't remember what they call it. What keeps them from spreading apart. The hinges that hold them together. Sorry. Seeing that he may have hurt I think it was his left leg. If he did really hurt himself, that's not good to see for Jeff Hardy. He might have actually hurt himself quite badly, because he didn't look too good at it. Seeing a Brooke Hogan there, and she screaming at a Bully Ray was a decent touch. Seeing her smack him in the face was good. There was nothing wrong with that. He needed to get smacked. That was necessary for the character. Seeing a Bully Ray take a Ball-Teen hammer, if that's it, the name of it, from a Taz to hit squarely in the face of a Hardy to win was okay. Now, we know earlier in the night that he told his aces and eights to not come out to the ring, because he needed to walk alone. I felt was the wisest thing to do. Was it overkill seeing them throughout the night, particularly on their bikes, which really they felt, I felt when their bike segments were shown, they really didn't give off an attitude of a biker. They didn't. They may look like bikers, but the way they were acting, particularly Wes Briscoe, he looked awkward. Garrett Bischoff looked awkward on the bike. Doc looked like a real biker. It just gave off, some of them gave off a feeling of, they felt awkward messing with bikes, even though they weren't. Just to me. So seeing them at the end of the night, raising their hands up and holding the title, was a wise thing to do. You need to get aces and eights continually winning and to get them over. Do I still feel this gimmick sucks? Yes. Do I feel like it's time to end it? By Bound for Glory or Slammiversary? Hell yes. We want to end this and break this group up. It's been too long. Seeing it with a Bully Ray as their champion, their leader, their president, does give it some more energy, but it's not enough to maintain this faction. They really need to drop it. Now, finally, at the end, is what I believe is the strongest thing of the night and the strongest storyline that TNA has. The AJ segment. This was a nice segment. This is what I feel is good storytelling. Seeing Hulk Hogan come out calling AJ. Then Storm comes out saying, "I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat, boy." And then what makes it even more interesting, Bad Influence comes out to try and pull AJ in another direction. Now AJ has 4 options to him. Either he can walk alone, he can go to Aces and Eights, he can go to TNA, or he can go on Bad Influence. This is good storytelling. You have no fucking idea who AJ is going to go to, if he's going to go with anyone. He makes it so no one knows who is the proper person to turn to. Will he turn to Bad Influence, who started him down the bad road? Will he turn back to TNA, where TNA, he feels like they didn't really cover or care for him when he was being lied to because of Bad Influence? Will he turn to Aces and Eights because Bad Influence and TNA screwed his ass so badly? Or will he just leave them all alone and be one against the world and then fucks with everybody, even if he gets his ass kicked? AJ goes after Bad Influence. He goes after the people in TNA. Then he goes after Aces and Eights, who made him even have more problems during that time. It's unlimited what it could be. It's impossible yet to know what direction he's going to go in. And this is perfect storytelling, and this is the reason why this is going to go in my title. I'm not sure how I'm gonna say this, what direction AJ will go, or whatever. I don't know yet what I'm gonna call it, but AJ is going to be in my title, because I really believe that the strongest storyline they have is the AJ one. The Aces and Eights one is like a second side one. It really isn't that strong, but AJ is the one that's being presented, and it's good. AJ is the face of the company. He needs to be in the most dominant storyline, and this is it. Now, how do I rate this show? Sorry. How do I rate this show? I really believe the AJ segment really put it over the edge for me. So I'm going to give this a B. It wasn't a good, this is not a good B. I know people are going to say, hey, this is not great. What about Dirty Heels? What happened if they don't do anything with them? That's going to suck. But maybe they will bring them back together and split off the stereotypicals. The Joseph Park segment wasn't bad. The Joey Ryan getting destroyed by a Rob Terry was good. Seeing the Terrence Terrell and the Gail Kim match really felt like it was too soon. I could give this a B- easily, or C+, but you can't deny that the AJ segment was the perfect segment there. It was the only one that made interest to me, the only one that made the most sense to me, the only one that I have the most interest that I'm invested in. That is not interesting and that I'm invested in. It's the most strongest storyline that's there, and that's the one I'm going to go with. I'm going to give it a B. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. And anyone who's watching this, I said this before, I'll say it again. Thank you for being willing to even look at my videos. It's not just because my numbers are really good. I'm actually shocked beyond fuck that anyone even wanted to see that many times my videos. Seriously? It's insane. But and you're not insane, it's just shocking. But honestly, for me, like I've said before, I have my problems, and I'm going through some problems now. I'm not going to describe them, but this really gives me a lot of inspiration that people are willing to say, even though it's not directly, dude, you're doing something good. Be proud of yourself. And that means a lot to me. And I thank you very much for being willing to see my shows. If you comment, I thank you. If you're even willing to subscribe, I thank you. Honestly, that's the truth. You have a good day.